Welcome everybody, this is Ruby from the Popsicle Seer. Today I'm going to do a longer reading because I've received a lot of downloads and lots of energy coming through. So in my previous short videos, I've been mentioning that there has been a lot of intense energy coming through, and many of you, as you ascend and going through the ascension process and manifesting, you're going to come up against a lot of energy that do not agree with you, or people. It doesn't matter whether it's male or female or which star sign, it's to do with the energy themselves. So you may find out that you have come across a lot of conflicts with either family or close friends or either relationships. And your way of suddenly learning to master your energy is causing a sudden shift in your energy to a positive level. What happened is that all of a sudden you are viewing others from a higher perspective. So your higher self is directly speaking and communicating through different types of energy. It can be through, as I mentioned before, communication through music, signs, symbols, auditory, anything that you can pick up. You've got a very high perception at the moment. So all of a sudden you've been receiving a download from a higher perspective to communicate with the other person's higher self. So all you're looking at is, when you came across confrontation and conflicts, is that you're looking and communicating with the higher self from the other person, from a love and perspective, a higher perspective. So therefore you were not looking at anything negative. So you rose above everything and you decided to detach from all the negative sides. So there was an ego death that happened between you and the other person. Both of you were switching to a higher level and you became the rise of the phoenix. So you are mastering the game of life and you're healing. And a lot of the things that used to trigger you no longer trigger you. You have surrendered and handed over the issues to the divine, and the divine has downloaded the information and instructed you to be able to deal with it in return. So I have mentioned before that it was like water off a duck's back. The duck can just rise above it and have so much fun and nothing bothers the duck. So that's a really good analogy I can give you. And in some ways you're just laughing things off and saying to yourself, why was I so serious with that other person? Why was I so triggered? Some of you may have a long-standing issue with your parents, either your mother or father, or somebody in your family. You've had a long time to have dealt with this issue, and you kept arguing and arguing, and you could not come to a solution. And finally, there's a sudden shift that the divine has given you. And previously, when I mentioned that you've been given a spiritual gift, you need to now pay attention from all the signs and communications. And that's why a lot of my short videos have been about communication from different sources. So it's not just from music and from the signs and the lyrics. It can be just purely from seeing somebody like in public and it reminded you of somebody else, and all of a sudden you've been called to communicate with somebody you may have an issue with, or you haven't seen a person for a long time and all of a sudden you were thinking about that person because another one reminded you of a stranger. And then all of a sudden you just bumped into those people. And this is what happened to me. Last week, I've been thinking of various people in my life that I hadn't seen for a long time. And all of a sudden, in one day, I saw 3 people that I haven't seen for a few years at least. And it's the Spirit saying to me, hey, it's time to get out there and communicate and get over yourself in some ways. You've been spending too much time getting so upset about life. It's time to really give now. And I know a lot of you have given and not getting anything in return, but if that's the way you felt, that's not conditional love. It's unconditional. Sorry, it's not unconditional love. So that was conditional. And now it's time to say, okay, I can always get something from other people, but what can you do for others as well? But at the same time, you need to find a balance. So I did a reading previously, the day before today, to say that although you are shifting to a higher level and there's a lot of energy and intensity with you, you still need to look after yourself and rest and rejuvenate. And when you get a chance is to not only, sometimes you may not feel like meditating. So that's okay, because sometimes I don't particularly like to sit down still. I'm not a person that can sit down. I'm always doing something. But you can find a way of meditating which is through other means. In the past, I have used my creativity, and that's my meditation. I put on music and I just do my artwork, and I was a painter. And that's my form of meditation. And out of that, I resolved a lot of issues and was able to see a lot of things from a higher perspective and intuitively. So I hope you get something out of this. And before I finish off this reading, I pulled out a card, which is the Strength card, Archangel Ariel. And this card is about great inner strength that you have. And you've released harsh judgment and you forgave and you moved on with compassion and forgiveness. And that's exactly what I'm talking about now. You no longer can have anyone holding you up, and you don't even feel anything towards that person. You realize what's happened, because everyone is like a mirror to you. So you would have gone through the same issue before this shift. We all go through different stages of lessons. So another card I pulled out is the Two of Water. It's a relationship that continues to grow closer. So it's about the forgiveness as well. It's another card that's about forgiveness. And on top of that, the positive resolution of a conflict. So you've been having long-standing issues with your family or somebody that's very close to you. Now is the time to look at them from the higher self. Forget about anything that's negative and stop nitpicking, because that just goes back to a lower vibe. And to be able to manifest, there is no other choice but to ascend working with the divine from a higher perspective, with a high frequency. And previous readings, I mentioned the need and the importance of decluttering in every way, not just physically, cleaning out stuff that you no longer have a need for, but it's decluttering of the mind through decluttering of data and anything to do with, as I mentioned, subscriptions and things that you don't need. There are certain things that you don't really need to continue to buy. It's just the public and the matrix that's running your control over you and your finance. So I hope you enjoy this reading. I will do a very short video because I know some of you don't have a lot of time to always listen, but you prefer some shorter bouts of videos. So I'll continue doing a summary of this one. And if you enjoy longer readings, I'd like to get some feedback off you whether you'd like a longer reading or not. I seem to get a lot of feedback more so with the shorts. But if you enjoy the longer ones, I will take some time to do at least one long one every single week. And there is also a playlist with different types of topics. So please, I hope you enjoy some time just going through my playlist and see what you enjoy looking at. I know today's video might be a little bit longer, but it's mainly concentrating on how to master your energy and resolve conflicts, especially with long-standing relationships and issues that you've had with close family and friends. And perhaps also, say, some conflicts with your colleagues that you work with. So please give me some feedback if you enjoyed this video, and if you'd like me to focus a few more on conflict resolution, I'm happy to do that. And I will do some readings and energy readings further on from there. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon again.